Why hello everybody, Spencer here, also known as Lego Dude 11, and in today's video, this is my If spoiler review. So without further ado guys, let's discuss. Alright guys, so first and foremost I want some housekeeping out of the way here. I'm still getting over a little bit of a cold, some allergy season. If I sound a little nasally, that's why. But I'm here making this video today. And like I said, this is the movie If, stands for Imaginary Friends. And this is directed by John Krasinski. Written, produced, directed, and starring. John Krasinski stars in this. And at first, when this movie was initially announced, called If, I thought it was something to do with an Office reboot. I thought it was, I didn't know what it was, and I heard John Krasinski and Steve Carell. I was like, oh, what's this? Until I knew later down the line it was Imaginary Friends, and I saw the trailer. I was like, this looks delightful. And right from there, it really was. Once I saw this in theaters today, the day I'm recording this, but I'm showing this, this is a week later, after the film's been out, it's been a week. I love this. It was a delight to see. It put a smile on my face. My initial thoughts on it, and my Instagram post I had a smile on my face from start to finish. I'll get into later as to what really hit for me. But as I said, I love this movie from beginning to end. I feel bad. I feel bad that people didn't like this movie, but at the same time, I'm not a fan of Bad Batch. Lots of people like Bad Batch, and I like this movie. But anyways, I know they're two different sets of content, but I love this movie. I adored it. I cried, and I'll tell you when at the end. So let's kick things off with the score by Michael Giacchino. I adore this theme and main score, the whole score. If you guys don't know already, I find it funny that Michael Giacchino is doing the two kid movies this year. Two kids movies this year, not both kids. There's more than two kids movies coming out this year, but two of them, this one, and then Inside Out 2. So I'm glad he has some stuff. I knew Inside Out 2, but I didn't realize this one. This was a big surprise to hear him do some music too. And I find it funny that, if you guys don't know, that Michael Giacchino is my second favorite composer of all time. He would be my favorite if John Williams wasn't around, but I have to put John Williams at number 1. And then Michael Giacchino is number 2, and then I think Alan Silvestri is number 3, maybe Danny Elfman's number 3. I haven't confirmed which one. I think maybe, I don't know. It doesn't matter on this video, but he's my second favorite. I love Michael Giacchino from doing Up, The Incredibles, Incredibles 2, Cars 2, underrated film in my opinion, or appreciated film in my opinion. And then he's done Spider-Man movies, he did Doctor Strange, he's done Rogue One, so a lot of good stuff. Love it. Did he do Rogue One? Pretty sure he did Rogue One. But nonetheless, I'm pretty sure he did Rogue One. So, yeah, he did. So, this was a treat to hear him, and I love it. Go listen to it. But the acting and the characters in this, Kaylee Fleming, who's the little girl, great casting choice. She learned the dance to this song in 37 seconds, 37 or 38 seconds, and it was great. We love the dance sequence in this. Ryan Reynolds is a treat to see his comedic presence and the comedic gold that Kaylee Fleming brings with the chemistry with Ryan Reynolds. They're awesome together on screen. And Steve Carell is the main imaginary friend called Blue. Is great. By the way, people are comparing this to Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, which I watched growing up, and I don't think that's a bad thing to compare it to. However, the main imaginary friend in this, as well as the show, is called Blue. But this time, or in the movie, the character's purple. But I think what John Krasinski was going for is like it copied something else. I don't think they copied it. I think what John Krasinski was going for is a concept of this character's just called Blue. Like this kid, this kid created an imaginary friend, but he's not blue. Like this image, but he's not blue. So I liked it. It was fine enough. So it was there. Also, there's Phoebe Waller-Bridge voices Blossom. I swear to God, I haven't heard this yet. But for people who hate Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny, you have fun with that. But for Phoebe Waller-Bridge to be voicing, like, for people to come out, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is back at it. It's like, She's just a voice. Screw you. But anyway, that's what I'm going to tell people. But this she's fine in the voice role. I liked it. I liked her character. She's cute. So there's her, and there's some other characters. By the way, the story's very simple. Basically, Ryan Reynolds helps Kaylee Fleming's girl, this girl, reunite imaginary friends with the kids that lost them, trying to find new kids to give these imaginary friends to. So a very great premise, simple from the trailers, and basically Kelly Fleming. There's this like an opening scene, like 10 minutes opening scene of basically the introduction, like showing like the title cards or like the who directed the acting, who's in it, blah blah blah. And after we get this opening scene, then we see the title card for If. But in this 10-minute opening scene, we see the young girl who looks a lot like the actress who plays Ant-Man's daughter, Cassie Lang. I forget her real name, but who's in Are They the Goddess Me Margaret? Not her. Looks a lot like her though. Swear to God, it's a doppelganger. And this girl, John Krasinski, and the mom are there, and the mom is sick. You see her die. Basically, almost reminiscent of Up, how the mom dies. Kind of, not really, but she's gone. The mom is gone. And John Krasinski is there, and he raises this girl, who is Kaylee Fleming, his character. And Kaylee Fleming has these imaginative days, like creates art, blah blah blah. And this is what John Krasinski said in his interview. He's like, I saw my kids playing imaginations, all this, and then in COVID, his kids just stopped doing things, and it's like, I'm going to make this movie. This interview by John Krasinski almost made me cry before I even saw the movie. And so anyway, this opening scene happens, and then you see her like see this bookmark in John Krasinski's book at the hospital. It said "Smile" on it with a clown down beneath it. And I'm like, oh, that's probably going to be used later, which is a good setup for later. Which, by the way, spoilers if I didn't mention it already. It's a spoiler review. So later, we meet all these imaginary friends. Ryan Reynolds takes her to this carnival where down below, down beneath one of the rides, there is a retirement home for all these imaginary friends. We see Lewis. We meet Lewis the bear, teddy bear. We meet, the slime guy. We meet Aquafina's bubble. We meet the Ice Cube, Thirst Trap Ice Cube from Arizona. We meet the Marshmallow character. We meet the violin imaginary friend. We meet the banana, and then Keith, who's Brad Pitt. Apparently, he didn't voice him at all, but I looked at the cast. I was like, Keith is Brad Pitt, Invisible. If the banana was Bill Hader, Aquafina was the bubble. We get superhero flying, almost like Teddy Bear, but it was like flat superhero bear. And who else was there? There was like the weird detective shadow guy who was very weird. I loved him, and I loved all of the creativeness behind the ifs. They were a treat. I just thought they were a treat to see on screen, and the creativity. There was a unicorn too. There was a dragon and knights fighting at one point throughout the time at home, and this dance sequence, the whole scene where the stuff is changing was awesome, and like it just reminded me of Roger Rabbit. How awesome Roger Rabbit is. Roger Rabbit and E.T. That's the vibe you get from this movie. It's so good, and I don't know why. I feel like this is going to be a movie that's going to be slept on in the next 10 to 15 years. I'm going to be showing this to my kids whenever I have them. Be like, guys, watch this movie because this came out. And guys, I tell you, I haven't even gotten to the end, but the story is so good. Like I said, there's twists and turns that happen. Like at the end, I'll tell you in a minute. But the moment I cried was when... First moment I cried was when Lewis the teddy bear, you meet him, and Ryan Reynolds introduces him to Kaylee Fleming's character, B. And he goes, you gotta remember the people, you always gotta, I forget if it was verbatim, but it was like, you don't take for granted the people you love, and always cherish the ones you love. Something along those lines. And it pulled on me, because I'm like, saw this with my parents, and I couldn't stop thinking about my friends from college, and friends from here, and I'm like, it just pulled at my heartstrings. I'm trying not to cry right now, and I'm like going, man, this is emotional. And not only that, but what they do next, and do the whole changing things, and I'm like, oh, it's so good. And then the Kaylee Fleming just goes with the teddy bear, goes in the carnival and does all this stuff, and I loved it. And I cried at the end when they said "in memory of Lewis Garrett Jr." And I was like, "Ah, who voices Lewis the teddy bear?" Spelled differently, by the way. I kind of like that, but it didn't matter how they spelled it. But anyway, and I cried at the ending too. But more specifically, what they do in this movie, because I feel like people, I didn't care what they did in this movie. This had nothing. This was an original film, so me seeing this really depended on the story. And the story was fine. I mean, it's not going to win Best Picture, but it's going to probably be in my top 10 of the year, depending on what we do here at the end. But I don't know yet. We're almost halfway through the year, but I'm still trying to figure out what movies are in my top 10. I have 5 right now, but this may be 6. Who knows? I don't know yet. So basically, there's this kid that Kaylee Fleming meets at the hospital, and she's like, "Do you want an imaginary friend?" Because he's all alone in the hospital, and he's like, "Sure, why not?" So they're trying to go through like auditions or like test runs of like who would be the best fit, like case files, like who would be the best fit for this kid. He's like, "Do you see this imaginary friend?" Asking the kid if he sees any of these imaginary friends. He's like, "Nope, don't see any of them." So they're like, "Shoot." So that doesn't work. Then they go find the kid, adult version of the kid who was originally Blue's best friend, or imaginary friend, or Blue's kid, the imaginary friend Blue's kid, who was from a TV show called Me, Myself, and I. That's always what I know him from. So he was in this, and they try to go him to the bathroom. Funny enough, but the thing I laughed at was, he's like, "Can you go in there?" They're in the bathroom, the guy's bathroom, and then the kid, Ryan Reynolds, goes, "No, I don't go in the public bathrooms." And then Kaylee Fleming's like, "Fine, just put up my hood," and she walked in the bathroom. I was like, "That's perfect. That's perfect," because it just made me think like, it's just a bathroom. Get over it. So, get over it. So then Blue goes in there, tries to reconnect, and it goes wrong. He sneezes. He's a sneezing problem. But anyway, then the kid's having a bad day because he got coffee falling on him. And so then later the movie goes on, progresses, and you see him, or they have Chris Sonson, Steve Carell, his character Blue If wins, gets reconnected with the adult kid, and basically because of the bakery. There's like baked goods. And so they reconnect, and then later we see that all of this was in Kaylee Fleming's mind, B's mind, because we see she goes back to the hospital because the grandma's like, the dad's gone. Oh, the grandma, her imaginary friend was Blossom, so she has like a little dancing scene too, and Blossom's there, they're dancing, so they reconnect. The grandma and Blossom reconnect. Then she goes to the hospital. And because they think her dad's dying. She thinks her dad's dying. So she talks to him, like, "Here's a story about me and the imaginary friend." She talks about her creativeness, and he's like, "That's a great story. How does it end?" So they reconnect. That was really emotional as well. I cried at that. I almost cried at that too. That was so emotional. And then she goes back to her apartment to go back to Ryan Reynolds, where Ryan Reynolds lives, and that's where she met Blue. And the owner of the apartments, the landlord, is like, "Are you trying to get in there?" She's like, "Yeah." Kaylee Fleming's like, "Yeah." She's like, "My friend lives here." And she's like, "Your friend?" Opens up the door and nothing's there. Or there's stuff in there. It's just an art room. Nobody lives there. This is all in her imagination. So she goes back and like looks at the picture, or sees a picture of her creation. Like she drops her, like they're moving. And she's like, there's a clown on it. It's the same clown from earlier in the bookmark. Like, smile. So she runs up and sees them all again. And Ryan Reynolds is there. Gives her a balloon, a flower balloon. Like, he's the clown If. He's her imaginary friend. He was the imaginary friend for her all the time, helping her out, reconnect all these imaginary friends. And then before the movie ends, you see all the adults get their imaginary friends back that they once had as children. It was so emotional. I love the ending of this movie, and like I said, then the credits roll, and at the very end of the credits is teddy bear of Louis the teddy bear, little montage, and it says in memory of Louis Garrett Jr. But I adore this movie, the whole story, and the one at the end when all the kids are getting imaginary friends, when all the adults, the one kid who was at the hospital sitting on a bench at the park, and he gets an imaginary friend, the dragon with little glasses, and like pushes him up, like, because the kid has to push up his glasses all the time because he keep falling down. I was like, oh my god, he got an imaginary friend, and I was just sitting there in tears, of joyous tears, because I loved it. And guys, that's my thoughts on it. This movie was so good. The twists and turns because of and of the creativity of how everybody, like I said, Louis the teddy bear's like, always hold on to the people you love. We need imaginary friends. I forget. Ryan Reynolds says you always need imaginary friends. Like they're here. Like Achille Fleming's like, I'll always talking to the picture of Ryan Reynolds' characters, his imaginary friend looking at the painting. It's like, I'll always remember you. I'll always need you when I grow up. And I was just sitting there in tears, like, I'm like, yes, I had imaginary friends growing up. If I didn't specify this in the video, I had them growing up. I put that in my Instagram post, and this film really called to me because I'm like, I cannot wait for this. And this is gonna film that I will hold on to forever. I want to put this in like my top 5 films of all time. This is what I'll always remember. I'm always going to tell people about. I'm going to share with my kids growing up, because this is one that needs to be watched. If you have an inner child, if you had imaginary friends growing up like I did, if you like creative storytelling, this is it. John Krasinski, you've done it again, and I love everything about it. I'm just speechless, and I'm just like, yes. And John Campea, one of my favorite movie reviewers, loved this film. Thank you for liking this film, loving us, because I liked it too. I liked it a lot. This is an 8.5 out of 10. That's the review. That's the rating I'm giving it. The month of May, guys. The month of May movies has been great. I love this a lot. And I'm not just trying to be like, oh yeah, I love every movie. I'm not just trying to be positive because I have to be positive. I generally love this movie because of it. It's fun, and I understand if you weren't expecting this type of movie. But I am so sorry if you didn't like what you got. But call up John Krasinski and be like, hey, can you make me a different movie? Like, and the other problem is, it's not even like it was like, we manufactured this movie and we need a director's cut. That's not the problem. We got the movie that he made. It was not studio manufactured or whatever. It was not Disneyfied. It was not like the Snyder Cut. We need a Snyder Cut. No. This was the movie. It was awesome. I loved it. Please support. Also, the opening Paramount logo was like crayon drawn. It was awesome. I'm wondering if I have to do some research after this video if Harold and the Purple Crayon will be that. I don't know if that's Paramount or if that's Sony or what, but I wonder if I have no doubt if Harold and the Purple Crayon's Paramount, they'll probably do the same thing for that. But that's my thoughts. 8.5 out of 10 for If Imaginary Friends movie review. That's my spoiler review. Don't forget to leave a like if you did enjoy it. If you have not seen it yet, go check this movie out in theaters. Highly recommend you do. I think you should see it in theaters. I skipped out on, what did I skip out on? I have no idea. Well, I told you guys you could skip Fall Guy if you really wanted to, but I like to see it in theaters. I recommend you see this in theaters. I skipped out on, I would have skipped Ghostbusters over this if you guys had skipped Ghostbusters. But anyway, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to my channel, Lego Dude 11. Be sure to follow me at Boba Fett Jedi Master on Instagram. Links down below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me. Don't forget to keep calm, play Lego. Peace out. Don't forget to keep calm, play Lego, watch stuff. Peace out, everyone. Bye.